Yes, good morning, students. I would like to give an introduction of our second speaker for the day, Mr. Kartik Swaminathan. So, good morning, sir. Welcome you. I welcome you to the Spectrum 2023 for this second session for the day. So,
Thank you, Professor
yes, sir.
Bhakshri. Yeah,
Yes.
thanks.
Kartik
Welcome all. Yeah.
Swaminathan, sir, is an avid fintech enthusiast and founder at Fintastic, where he consults on product and go to market in fintech. He brings with him over 2 decades of experience in successfully ideating, creating, and delivering innovative products, solutions, and processes in financial services and technology space. He has worked on a range of solutions across investment and wealth management, capital markets, global payments, lending, trading, financial planning, asset management, neo banking, financial inclusion, compliance, fraud management, e commerce, and process automation. So he has leveraged his experience and understanding of fintech space to create the innovations framework 3F Future Fintech Framework. He also conducts 3F Age workshops based on the framework. So these workshops enable us with a thought process or approach for creating innovative and engaging solutions and fostering collaboration and accelerating growth in the new digital age. So this was a very short introduction of you, sir. I welcome you for the Spectrum 2023 virtual conclave of MITSD. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Bhagyashree, and all the team members of this conclave. I think Ashna, you coordinated with me on the other team members. I have not probably got time to interact with them. But in a virtual scenario, probably this is the way to just say hi to all of you. And very good morning to you all students. And I understand, this is the second last day of your, marathon of Spectrum event. And I'm sure you've been share, the lot of good thoughts and ideas and concepts have been shared with you across the last 1 month, and I'm here to share some insights and experiences and some work I have done, and I hope I'm able to add value. And I want to specifically add and thank you, Professor Bhagyashree, for that initial introductory line where you clearly mentioned that though it is fintech, but it is meant for all, right? People have this misconception because, see, traditionally when we go and do management, it's still in India, even globally to that extent, the thinking is management is marketing, finance, HR, and operations and analytics, and the likes of those. But gradually what is happening is lines are thinning between industries. I'll give you an example. So even if you do HR, it is a possibility that you will join a company and you will be doing digital marketing to acquire employees for applying for the company, right? So you may be HR person, but your job will be 80%, 90% digital marketing, because today everything is, and you may be organizing events for students, campus programs for students. So all this is event management, which is more like a marketing job. Correct. And these things are rising by the day. So the same applies to fintech. And, so this approach is very important, because half the battle is the openness when you come to a session, right? Obviously, in 1.5 hours, for anyone to fully grasp what I'm going to say, obviously, it's quite easy, but it's not like you'll remember everything. But the first thing is you have to be open to it, right? And that statement of yours was definitely helpful to put that in perspective, and I'm happy to share this. If you give me a moment, I'll probably share my slide and then we are ready to go. Yeah, great. Is this visible to you all?
Yes, sir, it's
Great.
visible.
Yes,
Great.
sir,
Okay.
visible.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So as I told you that today we are here to discuss about fintech as an opportunity, and it's a huge opportunity which I'll try to take you through, and in specific context of India, because India has done some unique work around fintech and you should be aware of it, and my intent is basically to tell you that. So that will be one part of the presentation, which will probably take 20-30 minutes, and then the last 20-30 minutes plus we will discuss about an approach or innovations framework which I've tried to create. So what happens is, uh, you need to know where all to go, but how do you make maximize that? So if I give you a, so if I tell you that you can travel to this place, you can travel to this place, these are places you should go, because that is where it is very exciting as a tour or a journey. That is one part, that is the opportunity. But if I tell you that this is the checklist, or these are things you should do before going there, right? So that is a framework or a model. So as management students, you need, if you want to maximize in, the opportunity, you need to be prepared with frameworks. Otherwise what will happen, you will, it's not like you cannot get the opportunity, but you may struggle, you may make it partially, yeah, like, but if you want to maximize your efforts, or with less effort be more effective, you need frameworks. And so I'm trying to share both the opportunity and the framework which I have created around this, based on my background and experience. So welcome you all to this presentation called Fintech Opportunity and a Framework to Innovate, Collaborate, and Grow. That's how it's been named. So let's begin. Now, before I begin, I just wanted a quick introduction. This is not to basically share my profile with you, but this is to bring to the fact that what made me create or work in this field. And because as students, I think it is all the more important to hear stories from others, because some of those, some little elements from the stories may appeal to you, or maybe it may give you some thought or idea or direction, right? So I've spent close to 2 decades in the BFSI space, largely on product and go to market in the BFSI is banking, financial services, and insurance, as you know. And I've worked across a host of innovative solutions and products or projects and processes with leading banking, financial companies, and technology companies. Because technology is very closely embedded with the finance ecosystem. Without finance, there is no tech today, right? Earlier, we even had a lot of physical passbook, but today you can open a bank account and close a bank account without meeting anyone. Everything is digital, without even handling 1 rupee of cash, right? And same with investment, mutual fund. You talk about every finance product, insurance, every product is digital in nature. So technology plays a very big role in finance, and without finance there is no commerce. So even if you're part of some other industry, fintech and finance is important, right? So uh, everywhere this is required. And I've handled a lot of innovation cycles, a lot of cross functional stakeholders, and that has actually given me a lot of perspective in terms of what makes a project succeed, because that's important, right? So it's not like I didn't face a problem, but what I did was I preempted a lot of problem. I saw through a lot of things, and I could handle different stakeholders well, so that I could maximize my effort. And based on that also, I have actually ended up creating the framework, which I'll share with you in the second half. And these are some of the areas I've worked across, largely in BFSI, which is your wealth management, capital market, neo banking, lending, trading, uh, payments and payment automation and process automation, e-governance, right? Compliance and fraud management, KYC, and all those things, right? And happy to connect with you all. And as I'll share with you at a later in the slide, there is a lot of knowledge management and share which I do. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you can keep getting access to some of these reports and analysis which I keep sharing regularly. Great. So now that brings us to what this so-called word fintech is, right? Fintech is dynamic, it's growing, it's converging, right? And uh, it's basically an amalgamation of the words financial services plus technology, and that's how the word fintech got born. And then there are obviously different things like tech fin, and so I I don't want to get into jargons there, but that's the net sum of it. Now, but is that enough, right? Because I'm sure even I have questions, even after spending 20 years. And because I have questions, I keep reading, trying to clarify and understand, bring clarity to my mind, right? Because as you grow, it's not about knowledge and information, it's about clarity and understanding, correct? Because today knowledge, information is available. So at this, the first thing to even get knowledge, information, or to do something is to have a question. If you, or a need. If you don't have a question or a need, uh, there is no use doing it, right? It's like eating when you are not hungry, which is not satisfying, correct? So We all have a lot of questions around what is fintech. It's not, though it is a simple acronym, but there are many things around it, right? I'm just trying to tell you. So this is the starting point. So when you talk about automation, you talk about RPA, you talk about core banking, you talk about some KYC automation, you talk about regulation, you talk about security, twin factor authentication, you talk about bundling and unbundling, you talk about the word, bigger word called digital. There is big data analytics, uh, new age devices, right? You're talking about touch screens, you're talking about ATMs, kiosks, you're talking about IoT in fintech. Your new interfaces are coming. There is use of social media in fintech, right? There is identity, right? Aadhaar is heavily used in fintech for KYC. So identity as a technology is growing. So some of them, so there are many things. I'm just laying this 8-10 points here. And as I take you further, there are many other things which I talk about, and I'll tell you briefly about them. But there are many things which raises a lot of question in your mind, and you need to make sense of, to understand what is this fintech as an animal, because it has arms, legs, eyes, ears, plenty of them, right? So how do you make sense or give shape to fintech? Next is fintech. As I told you, fintech is not just related to bank and finance. Today, when you go to a travel portal, when you travel, purchase a ticket, I think someone needs to go on mute. When you purchase a ticket, you have to make a payment. When you make a payment, if the ticket price is big, sometimes with the payment you can get EMI. When you purchase the ticket, you are also asked whether you need insurance with the ticket. Correct? So you are going to a travel portal, but you see, you end up buying a lot of financial products also along with it. Same way, let's say you go to a edtech portal. Let's say you are a new student and you come to MIT SDE site. In MIT SDE site, they will have 20 programs listed. You will subscribe to one program. You will make the payment online. Right? Today, everything is digital. Then you get the link and everything is conducted online. So today, product is digital, but without fintech, that product is not useful. Same way, when you come to MIT SD, maybe the program is, it costs so much and you want to spread your payment. So there are many people who will give you buy now, pay later, or EMI facilities along with, right? So fintech is getting embedded. So MIT is an education site, but it also has fintech. So fintech is part of every site. You even Flipkart has fintech, everything has, right? And so it is inalienable part of almost every industry, primarily on B2B2C and B2C, but also coming to B2B, right? Um, um, that's the case. So fintech is with an embedded opportunity. Fintech opportunity is much larger, right? It goes beyond just finance industry, it goes to other industries. So very important for all of us here. Next is, it's not just about so many things are happening. Fintech is embedded with other industries. You also need to know that there has to be external impact on emphasis on it. So today, it's a good thing that our government wants to emphasize the use of fintech, and it is actually promoting new fintechs, giving new opportunity grants because of these reasons of better economic growth, social upliftment, shared economy, and the likes of those, right? So that is additional, and because of that, the opportunity becomes more active, because if the government is promoting, it is all the more better, because the opportunity becomes more attractive. And that's not all. There are over 25,000 players, so it's a very big opportunity for you to know about this segment from a job opportunity perspective, from a business perspective, right? So it's a huge opportunity that way, India and globally. And then obviously a lot of money is coming into this segment. Money means opportunity again. So again, this should be interesting to you, right? So I'm trying, in this slide, I'm trying to tell you that there are questions, there are opportunities. Some of these opportunities are clear, unclear. So you have to probe into it, identify. I have given just 25,000 companies, but when you do your job search, if you must know about the company you apply to, you should know a little bit about fintech, the company you apply to, and so, but the opportunity has to be there for you to apply. And I'm saying the opportunity exists, and this is the intent to tell you that there is both, some kind of a question mark in your mind, and there are a lot of opportunities. And then there are many other things like accelerators, sandboxes, and a lot of stuff is happening in this segment. So this is the starting point for all of us. and why you should be interested. That's number one. Now, what I do is I want to take you to the India opportunity, because I think we started with that. So, having told you that yes, fintech is great, and there are a lot of opportunities, and there is need for you to understand, because so many things are happening, and once you understand, the opportunities give you benefit to tap capitalize on the opportunities. Let me take you through some insights on certain key things which are happening in fintech in India. Obviously, so many things are happening, and in the next 15-20 minutes I'll try to do justice for what is happening. And then I will request that some of you may have instant thoughts when I'm asking, when I'm taking you through the presentation. You just, if you have a question for now, you just put it in the chat box. What we'll do is, after these 4 5 slides are over, we'll take a 10-minute question or 5-minute question session, and then we will go to the second part, which is the framework. So to begin with, one core thing which India has done and which is unique is created a India stack. So, and I'm sure maybe in some of the other presentations, this must have come, because this is part of almost every story today, right? E-governance to every other activity which is happening. And so India stack is like a base layer, right? It's like this. Before I start a school, or if I start a digital school, I need to have a website. I need to create course content, right? And without that, there is no school and business, and So same way, without having some of these core frameworks, I cannot have a very good digital ecosystem or environment or digital activity or transaction and growth in the economy. And these are foundational stack or blocks in nature. And what are those? They are basically, and you are aware of many of these things. Some of it you are already using. For example, Aadhaar is a unique identity based. Second is DigiLocker, which is a place to store all your documents in digital form. UPI we all are using. E-sign and eKYC are digital versions which are used in many government websites, and tomorrow it is possible that your certificates come like that, or you are made to do e-sign and eKYC in your organization, right? And so some lot of these government activity, corporate activities and all happen through e-sign and eKYC, and they have accelerated. Otherwise, in olden days, you had to transfer the file physically from one desk to another, from one office to another, one city to another, and the time taken was bigger. And also there are a lot of, so with the automatic signing by these authorities, and also a lot of these government processes, corporate processes and all accelerated through e-sign and eKYC. So these are foundational blocks, and these are based on a principle. I have simplified. This is something I've created. Is they are based on this. You should remember these 4 letters: PPCC. P is paperless, right? DigiLocker is making everything is paperless. Everything is stored in a digital form, and it is paperless. Uh, First P is paperless. Second is presenceless. Presenceless is you don't have to be physically present. You can be digitally present. So you can use your Aadhaar to digital sign in, you can use e-sign, eKYC to do that, right? And cashless. Cashless is UPI, right? With UPI today, you don't have to use cash. Everything is digital. And there is fourth, which I am not mentioning, but I'm taking in the subsequent slide, which is based on C. Fourth C is consent based. So presenceless, paperless, cashless, and consent, digitized consent, which is based on something. So in India, we have one model on digitized consent called account aggregator framework. So I talk about in the subsequent slide. So this is the foundational block for doing any commerce, because for any commerce you need to make payment. For any commerce you need digital documents. For any commerce you need to authorize and sign, for which you need Aadhaar or consent and e-sign, eKYC. So without this, no business can happen, right? So these are foundational block which India created already, and they are being used. gradually and applied to many years use cases or businesses or scenarios, right? Which is what is happening, and they are gradually emerging. Correct. So this is the foundational block. The second is NPCI, which you should be aware, which everyone knows. NPCI is the one who created UPI, and many of us know only UPI, but there are many things, and some of it you can identify, right? UPI has a version or wherein NPI has its own UPI app called Bheem. Same way, like Bheem, there are other UPI apps like Google Pay or Phone Pay or Paytms and the likes of those, right? And you may be using others. Same way, there is something which is star 99 hash, which is basically for non-smartphones, feature phones, which are used in still used in certain small towns and village areas. So they don't have very active internet. So how do they use the based on just the mobile connection? They can type. If you even if you now some of you go on the phone and type this star 99 hash, you'll see a menu on payment will come. You just try doing it right away. So this even in feature phone this works, but even in smartphone, but this is basically made for feature phones, so that India rural people can access digital finance products. Then there is Aadhaar enabled payment systems, which you are aware of. Many of you know of NETC, which is your FASTag, right? Toll collection, right? Then there is Bharat Bill Pay. Now, what has happened is Bharat Bill Pay has become so big with a very big, numerous use cases. This has been turned up into a new company. So UPI is one payment, but within payment you see so many variation. Then there is smart of credit and debit card on the RuPay rail, which is RuPay. And NPCI initially started with IMPS, which was mobile number based payment. Then UPI came with a UPI handle, and then QR code as a technology came, which accelerated the growth. And obviously, pandemic helped it, because everyone wanted to go. So it's not just UPI. There are so many product within payment and variations. And within this there is UPI 1, there is now UPI 2. With UPI 2, they are, I think some of the features are already rolled out in terms of recurring payment, in terms of there is a debit side, there is a credit side. So this is a vast industry. So some of you as retail customers may be using UPI and QR code, and you feel you know everything about it. No, there are hundreds of things within UPI, and each of them are big businesses in itself, right? So the first is the India stack. Then talking about UPI in specific, now I told you about the account aggregator. So this framework has also gone live. It's been more than 1.5 years. Many banks have gone live. So what is account aggregator, right? So today, whenever you do any financial product, let's say a loan or insurance, there is a concept called underwriting. What is underwriting? There is risk, right? If I have to give you a loan, there is risk whether you'll pay me back. So people look at two things. First is your intent to pay and ability to pay. So intent to pay is based on your history and your profiling and all those things. Ability to pay is based on your financials. Correct. So there are various data points and alternate data points which are available. Now, what government has done is using the consent architecture, they have created a place where there are there are 4 entities now as per the account aggregator framework. The first entity is you are the customer, correct? Now assuming, and then there is a information provider, there is a information user, and there is a entity in between who is actually helping fetch information from you and share amongst people and do that is this person in between, which is called the NBFC account aggregator. And there are close to a dozen plus companies operating in this space. So it is also a career opportunity, and it's already growing. We have seen a lot of 4-5 big names already emerge in this space, right? So what it does is, let's say you apply for a loan. Now when you apply for a loan, you need to share your bank statement, you need to share many other things, right, which are digital, your assets and all those things. Now every time to do it is complex, whereas in an account aggregator framework, you can just give your consent to a intermediary called NBFC account aggregator. And so in this case, the financial information user is the bank to whom you approach. Let's say you go to ABC Bank and say, I want a loan. That ABC Bank will then, in their app, give you a feature wherein you will provide this ABC Bank as financial information user the consent to get the information from all the banks, mutual fund, insurance, and tax, your tax returns you have to share. So all that will be fetched through this person electronically. And this is what this does. And it is consent based, so that it happens with your consent. And every time it happens, it is recorded, because these are private information and the way it is done. So there is a website called Sahamati, Sahamati, or Sahmati, something like that. You can Google search it, and you go there and you'll get every information. What banks are live, you can have process flows, everything. A lot of information is there for you to learn. But this is one big architecture which has happened, which is, I told you, right, the consent, PPCC. So this is consent based. So UPI came, this consent based came. So these are some big developments around that, right? And now obviously there are many other things happening, and I'm quickly taking you through. As I told you, there's very little time to do justice to all of them, but I'm quickly taking you through so many things which are happening, which will actually make you very interested in this subject and topic, and as an opportunity. And what are those besides UPI or NPCI and your account aggregator and the others? Let's go to them. So what are those other additional areas where action is happening in fintech? So there's a lot of some action. This is a very under served or partially successful area, but there are few companies who have managed to do some okay work. But I am quite hopeful this will, in the next 8-10 years, this will has very big potential, right? Which is peer to peer lending, right? And if you see olden days, what you did, if you wanted money, you didn't go to bank. You will either go to a your own brother or father or mother, right? And or you'll go to a friend or a relative. Then you will go to a local money lender. And when banks started coming, people go to bank last. Even now in many places, this is what happens, right? So what is peer-to-peer lending is, I lend you directly. Instead of you going to bank and lending, I can lend you directly. So there are websites and portals. I think there are close to, there were many which started in India. I am told more than 25, 30 started, but I think over a dozen or 20 plus remain, if I'm not mistaken. And so there are a lot of rules and regulation. There is a specific regulation around it. So this is one area, a lot of some action is happening. For now, it is muted. I don't see this as a very big opportunity, maybe in next 1-2 years. But if you get into it now, over the next 5, 8, 9, 10 years, this will turn out to be a sizable opportunity. Another area where a lot of action is happening is on investment and wealth management. I told you about account aggregator. Then there are a lot of platforms for trading and API and APIs for trading and management, right? Which provide you all that. Um, and a lot of us are not aware of many of these websites, like, or companies like NSDL. NSDL is, so if you really want to do or get good exposure on the fintech and the finance operations, transactions, and many of NSDL has done a lot of good work on things like consolidated account statement, taxation. So they are like one of the core players to enable the fintech ecosystem in India. So why I'm telling you, because some of these things you don't get, because you just hear the jazzy names, and as students you read articles, and you get exposed to jazzy names. But if you do little research, or you get into the industry, you realize that there are many key players who are enabling this ecosystem, and NSDL is one. Then there are many things like robo advisory in wealth management, like BSE has a website called MF Star. There is something which NSE does. There is another thing which called MF Utility, done by AMFI, which is the Association of Mutual Fund, which also they also do some work around robo advisory. There is I told you about account aggregator NBFC in the previous slide we covered. So these are some. Then on the lending side, there are many things happening. The first is, there are new alternate methods to collect data, to have new features. So alternate risk scoring, credit scoring, automated collection, which are digital in nature, and many other features in lending which are coming, right? Buy now pay later is a new form of lending, we all have seen, right? So on the lending side, a lot of new innovation and activities happening, right? Including new players, new segments, and likes of those. Then there is another big area which you should be aware, which is a big opportunity, because close to 4 or 5 big players exist in this place, and I think the total number of players are much bigger than that. It's called trades, which is into trade finance related bill discounting, invoice financing, and cash flow based lending. This is a very big segment. It's already picked up. 4 or 5 years back, it was a little bit only, but now it is quite sizable and a good opportunity. And very recently, maybe a month back, government came out with some new regulation, adding new features into this segment, which is, adding of insurance. I think allowing NBFCs to be a part of the trade platform, or some such new developments have happened which have expanded. And this is with the fact that there are many areas where trades have not yet started getting used. For example, large government companies are fully yet to get into the trades platform, because they have complex procurement systems, so they need to integrate with ERP and many complexities, and compliance issues, and also they are taking time. But assuming if all that comes, trades will become a very huge opportunity. It's already become quite big, unlike P2P lending, which is just about there, but trades is big. Buy now, pay later, we know there have been new regulations currently. So buy now, pay later, 2 years back, a lot of buzz, but in the last 6 months, 1 year, this segment has got little subdued because of regulation. And these things keep happening in any industry. It's a cycle, right? The regulator learn of some good practices, bad practices, based on which they change the rules, right? So the same thing happens, right? And then there is lending which is happening for small and medium enterprises, because in India that is required. So there is a big emphasis by government on lending for small and medium enterprises, rural financial inclusion, and likes of those. So a lot of action happening, right, on lending side. There is a lot of action happening on neo banks, digital banks, digi-only banks. I don't want to, again, as I tell you, paucity of time, I don't want to get into all of those. But as student, you should be curious, and if any area interests you, just do Google search, or happy to ping me if I have something I am happy to share. Then that's just one part, right? Then there are many other things happening on the insurance side, right? And there is insurance, there is a lot of things have been digitized, they are available as API. That's how today, I to give you the example, right? When you go to a travel portal, you can buy insurance, because everything is become, a lot of products have been become API based. You can instantly integrate into any flows. So that is available, right? And because of that, the digital ecosystem has grown and fintech has grown. There are many marketplaces, we all know, right? Bank Bazaar to Policy Bazaar to many of these. Then there are many new digital insurance startups, right? I think this digital digit is there, Acco is there, many. Just why I'm telling you names is, you could visit their sites, see if there is opportunity, learn what they are doing, your knowledge grows, right? And then government is trying to come out with some new things like Bima Vistar, Bima Sugam, and Bima Vahak. Yeah, I think that just got missed out. I think it's Vahak. So they want to come out with a new approach. Just do Google search about these things. So these are some new. Bima Sugam is a portal where you can buy insurance directly. So government is planning to do that. All that innovations there, because they want insurance penetration in rural areas. So as a country which is growing, our insurance usage is still less. We have to increase insurance usage. So government is coming out with many initiative which includes this Vistar Bima. And Vistar is a very composite product where multiple products, which is health insurance, shop insurance, and your life insurance, and there are 3 4 things which are packaged together for selling as a unit to commoners, right? So that even a kirana shop owner or normal businessman and someone in the village can purchase it all at one go, all insurance in one. So government is thinking all these innovative things, so that, because awareness is not there, so if they buy at one go, everything is covered, because, right, these are problems they face, right? um, then there are a lot of initiatives on agri-tech, health tech, financial inclusion. We keep hearing from our beloved PM, which is about Jandan Aadhar Mobile, new to credit, self-help group, joint liability group. You should know this if you want to know about financial inclusion, right? So they are all linked. Then there are new frameworks like account aggregator framework, some new frameworks are being worked on. They are currently, they are like, before a tree comes, the root has to grow, right? So OCEN is Open Credit Enabled Network. So just like UPI enabled payment, so in hands of everyone, same way tomorrow credit will be very easy through OCEN. It will be marketplace based easy model, which is what OCEN is trying to do. It is currently in the works. Maybe another 2-3 years, you will see it reach some stage and gradually be live and stuff like that. PCR is, I think, the public credit registry. This is also in the works, but this may take a little bit time, maybe uh, 2-3 years more. So maybe 5-6 years, you'll see some shape around it. ONDC. In fact, I just did a session a couple of weeks back on this. ONDC is, it will digitize e-commerce in hands of everyone, like UPI today. See, earlier to transfer money, you had to go to a bank. But with UPI, you can do it through other payment apps. It's made life simple. You don't need to remember bank account, IFSC code. With simple QR code, you, even if you want to transfer small amount, you can do that. So UPI solved so many problems. Same way in ONDC, they want to solve many problems which are there in the digital ecosystem. For example, sometimes you don't know whether you're given the right price. Sometimes the seller doesn't get the right price. The intermediary is making higher commission and exploiting both the customer and the intermediary, right? So these things are not good for the ecosystem and economy. So government is thinking, so what they are like, so they are making an open framework to enable commerce. So go to the all these things have websites. Go ONDC, go to the website and check what it is about, right? So that will be a very big thing, and work is already happening. It has already gone live. It was pilot live, and they have increased to few cities, and they are doing some 1,000 transactions, 800, 600, 700, 800,000 transactions per day, already live. You can order food. So it's a mix of everything, right? So you don't have to go to Swiggy separately and all, it's a single platform. Price will be better, right? So choice will be more, right? The possibility that someone cheats you, right? I'll tell you, for example, Amazon, maybe not, I don't want to take names to say that they are doing this, but maybe XYZ company which is into their pricing and giving you wrong discount, or some wrong practices they are doing for their benefit, right? They are not cheating you, but they may be doing some practices for their benefit, which may be like a kind of little exploiting, which is wrong. So they want to curtail and ensure there is level playing field, and which is the job of the government, right? Government's job is that. Commerce you and me will do, but the government's job is the commerce should happen ethically, properly. Taxes should be paid. There should be no ecological damage. There should be no cheating or dispute. And so to ensure that, they need to enable through regulation, through these models and frameworks. So ONDC is big. Government recently launched CBDC, which is your digital currency. Go and read. So India has both wholesale and retail has gone live, partially successful, but gradually as use cases rise, maybe the usage increases. Go and read. And now banks are asking many people to do pilots on CBDC. If any one of you get a letter from the bank or go and inquire in a bank, I want to use CBDC, it is nothing but today you use cash, right? When you pay cash, 5 rupees ka coin, 10 rupees ka coin, if I ask you 15 rupees, you'll give me a 10 rupee note or a coin, or and a 5 rupee coin, correct? So instead of doing it physically, you use a 10 rupee digital currency and 5 rupee digital currency, which can be enabled through QR or through digital means. So this is already live, right? Then I, these are some things I've already spoken of. As I told you, I keep doing posts on this. So some time back, I did a post on electronic bank guarantees, which has been totally digitized. Many banks, so I've told you what are the advantages of centralizing and doing bank guarantees. Then there are sandboxes which are happening, RegTech, SuperTech, AgriTech. Then there are new regulations which keep coming, which is customer redressal, because digital ecosystem means there can be dispute. Customer redressal has to be automatic. You cannot, otherwise customer will feel cheated and dissatisfaction will be there. There'll be friction in the system. There'll be dispute in the system, which is not healthy. So government has regulations around having customer redressal. Even if you go to ONDC website, they are talking about all these things. So there are many things. Just to, it's not as simple as enabling a payment or an insurance, or this is how insurance is calculated. That's just one part of the game. To enable it as a business and digitally, that you need many things, and government is working on whole lot of stuff, which I have told you about. So this is the net crux of the whole, kind of uh, what do you call, framework, or the action which government is doing. For the time being, I'm happy to, take a pause and take any questions that uh, is my audio clear here now? I don't know. Some of you are saying my audio is not clear.
Yes, sir, your voice is audible.
Is it okay? I've increased the yeah, okay. Because some I just saw the messages for some questions. Uh, for some, maybe it's not coming clear. But I'm happy to have any questions that many of you may have around this, thing, and yeah. So you could to put it on the chat, and I don't know if it is convenient to unmute and ask question, because then that is a,
Yes, sir, you can take it through chat box or
yeah.
by.
That's what I'm saying. I'm expecting questions. Sir, you didn't tell about ERP tech. So that's a technology. See, I'm talking about ERP is more on the finance. So there's a concept called open finance, right? So open finance is larger. So you get into accounting and finance and all those things. So that is related, but on the, so if I don't know if you have, any of you have been engineers or been in the technology side. So there is a upstream and a downstream. So ERP is more on the upstream side. It is linked because everything today is linked with each other. Without ERP, you cannot have any business. ERP is accounting. So ERP can be something like a Tally. ERP can be something like a big platform or software called SAP, or there are many other softwares today. So that is not nothing to do just with finance. It's to do with every business. I'm trying to focus specific on fintech. But if you want to ask me, or if I rephrase your question, whether ERP is maybe linked with it, yes, that is an opportunity, no? Because obviously every business is linked with it. CRM is linked with it. If I have to tell you, see, because this customer redressal cannot happen without a CRM platform, correct? You need to have take complaint. There is a complaint number. There is a workflow. Someone takes the complaint. Someone works on it. Someone gives you the answer. Someone to give the answer, they need to check few systems. So the CRM system can be bigger, right? Yeah, so someone is asking, so there are many key fintech challenges in India, in fintech, obviously, which is what is getting addressed by, and I told you many of these challenges, right? You need to first bring the ecosystem together. You need to, from a government side, I'm saying, right? You need to ensure proper pricing happens. You need to ensure there is proper customer redressal and complaint handling. You need to ensure that there is no cheating which happens. So that's why there are government rules. Even on lending, there are rules, which is like, that when these are documents you should be asking, and these are things you should be getting, and there are regulations around that, right? And the rate you are offered, right? For example, floating rate loan, and how the floating rate will work. There are, otherwise I'm a bank, I will have my own floating rate based on whatever whims and fancy. No, I may have my own floating rate, but there is a way in which I have to do it that government has specified. So there are many of these challenges which government is trying to address. And there are many other things. There are a few things which are very unique challenge in the fintech system, which actually I take as a separate session and slide, is wherein I talk about, so for example, KYC, AML is a very big challenge in the fintech space. That is very specific because, now frauds can happen if you don't identify the person properly, for which you need digital identity and all those things. So some of them are very specific to fintech. Some of them are larger business issues. Some of them are related to the digital ecosystem. For example, collaboration between partners is a big challenge today. And because for that only government is coming, making them digital. So tomorrow, what will happen? Everything will become digital, be converted into an API. Once you have an API, then you can integrate between APIs and make a system for customers. today, because there is no technology or API or framework or a model, it becomes difficult for partners to collaborate. But with these frameworks, tomorrow it will become much easier. Correct. So there are many of these things which are challenge. And remember, it is in challenges only opportunity is there. So which is a good thing. So there are many challenges. Many of them have been addressed. Life is much better than it was 5, 10 years back, 20 years back. But life can become much, much more better than it is today. Right. And luckily that is the case. And that because of that challenges and this scenario, we will get our opportunities, which is job or business opportunities. So some area on the challenge, I hope I've answered. What is meant by supervisory tech? Subtech is supervisory tech. So many of these audit reporting, it's a mix of supervisory and reg tech. Reg tech is regulatory tech and supervisory tech. They're somewhere closely linked to it. So it is audit and reporting and all those things come under supervisory tech. So there are many automated platform and solutions, and government wants to automate the audit, right? Without audit, government will not be able to keep track, or RBI or SEBI cannot track whether the players are doing proper work. So audit is required and reporting is required, and if you automate it, you can catch them faster. So supervisory tech does a lot of work around that, so you need to know that. So it's a big segment. So that's subtech. How can we use fintech in project management? It's the other way around. Project management is used in every area. So project management is a generic capability, correct? You need to you can apply that in fintech also. In any, even if you are working in the finance field, if today everything is a program and project. For example, someone in your team organized this event. It is a program or a project, correct? So you will like any program project, there is a timeline. It will be for a 1 month. These are 50 people I will do the outreach. These are the days. So I will have a schedule. I will track, I will activate, I will communicate, I will ensure that these activities take place, and I will ensure that there are backups. So it's that way, right? So project management is a generic capability which can be applied not just to fintech but any business, right? Same way analytics, correct? And I think you all do a course in analytics, so same way applies. So analytics, and in fact the framework I'm going to tell you in the second part, which I'll maybe another 4-5 minutes I'll start, is uh, is some generic capability for you to it's a thought process like project management, agile, right? So agile, same way it will help you in the digital ecosystem. So I hope I'm able to answer it. How fintech is helping? So fintech is digitizing everything, less error, much faster, correct? It is more comfortable, right? Instead of going through 20 reports with analytics, you can get the crux of it with AI ML, right? You can get the summary of it, right? So there are many areas you can use fintech in finance, right? It's not just restricted to some of these 3-4 areas I make. So all these technologies or models or frameworks or approaches can be used there. So the benefit is immense, right? In the finance field, right? I told you analytics is getting used, and there is this, I told you electronic bank guarantees. So in finance, you use bank guarantees a lot. So that digitize, so some of them are specific to a product. So in that area, many big companies need bank guarantees to apply for a tender or to work with a vendor. So all that can be automated. So when you do agreement, so many things are happening, correct? Uh, Regulatory action is any action by the regulator is regulatory action. So government comes out with a new rule. If you remember, when first government came out with a rule in use of Aadhaar, then they realized that Aadhaar can be misused. So if you remember, there is a rule which says when you share Aadhaar, you need to share masked Aadhaar, correct? If you do that. So government came out with this rule saying, that's how then based on that rule, the Aadhaar agency created the ability for you to download masked Aadhaar. So in fact, many places, unfortunately, it is still not followed. But if anyone asks you for your Aadhaar card, you should share only masked Aadhaar. And if you are doing digital payment and very actively using Aadhaar enabled payment and others, there is very little possibility that some fraud can happen, but it exists, right? But It cannot happen without you doing some stupidity or doing something wrong, but it exists. So that's why government came out with this rule. So government keeps coming with new rules, regulations based on its observation, understanding, based on behavior of people. Right? Government, when government launched, government must be thinking people will use it this way, but then they realize no, it is being used this way. So they will come and for example, digital lending, these Chinese apps, there was a lot of misuse by these Chinese apps, wrong collection practices. So government had to come and put brakes. So all these are regulatory actions by regulators. So there is government, there is finance ministry, there is regulators. Every industry has a regulator, right? Which you should know by now, I think. Sir, can you put all the government site name in chat? That I think if you, there are central portals available by government. There are egov.in and all those things. If you do Google search, you'll get all that. Today, there are many government portals where everything is aggregated. And there is one portal, the name is not coming, where all the other websites are also given, right, in one place. Can you please explain about agri-tech, ed-tech? That's a very big thing. I gave you many examples of, in passing, I gave you ed-tech example. In ed-tech, you see right from Byju's to Upgrad, many players are there, right? And then I gave you some workflow examples of how MIT will incorporate finance into their portal. Correct. So that's just to give you a gist of ed-tech. Travel also, I gave you such example. Agri-tech, many things are happening. There are many agri players because you need agri-finance. They are IoT based. So there are, I give you example wherein someone does agriculture based finance for, cattle. So, milk comes. So they track the cattle. They tell you when to milk the cow. They have IoT devices, timers, so that your milk production is maximized. Your cattle health is taken care of. And because of that, because you may get maximum production, they also tie you up with someone who will buy the milk from you. Then they finance you for producing the milk, right? So you get to buy the cattle also, you'll get finance. So this is like tied ecosystem. The lender benefits, the farmer benefits, the cattle is healthy, uh, everyone benefits, because if the cattle is healthy, the farmer will profit, and he will also pay the lender back. And the lender knows the chain. So lender knows that the farmer cannot cheat you. So with technology, so these are some areas, and many other areas. Same way in actual farming, use of technology and finance and fintech is helping farmers. RBI sandbox, you do Google search, you will know there are few cohorts happening there. I don't want to spend too much time. Already 3 or 4 cohorts are done, and there are 4 or 5 in the pipeline. You do the search, because as student you should know. I cannot elaborate beyond the limit. If you do Google search RBI sandbox on RBI website, everything is given on it, right? Great. So I think I'm done with most of the question. Let me proceed with the second part. So having shared all these things with you, and I hope, obviously it's too much at one go, but some thought and clarity around this. I come to you now seeing this opportunity. Now, someone asked me a question on project management, correct? So I told you this project management analytic is a skill you can use in any industry. Same way, what I'm going to tell you is a thought process approach which you can apply in any industry where you create digital solutions. Because today, everywhere digital solutions are required. Every industry. You may be even working in the finance department you may be working with vendors, but even for vendor, you may create a platform where the vendor uploads the invoice, then you verify the invoice, then you send the invoice to the department saying, can you confirm whether this vendor has delivered the product? Then that department will say, yes, that product has been delivered. Then you may have some compliance check. You may check his account number. You may see some other things, whether some past dues are pending from the vendor, or he has not delivered properly in past. So all that you will check, and then you will make the payment. It's normal workflow with some small complexity. So though it is not a final customer, but even for internal vendor, you may have this. You may have a platform for employee reimbursement, for which you need to create a digital digit. So today, digital platform or solutions or workflows or services needs to be created for everyone in every scenario, which is what I told you: B2B, B2B2C, B2C, any scenario. So this thought process, which I have authored, is called 3F Future Fintech Framework, which is nothing but a vision to simplify understanding, foster innovation, and accelerate growth. And I told you, right, why you need to simplify understanding, because there are so many things happening. I need to break it down and make it simpler, which is what I have tried to do. In fact, that is the area where I have tried to put the maximum effort to simplify things, so that you understand more than 85, 90, 95% of it. 5-10%, like you will have to deep dive into something and try and understand it, but broadly you'll get the concept. Foster innovation. So innovation is not a new word. 1,000 years back also someone innovated and made a wheel, correct? Wheel came 1,000 years back, so that was also innovation. So innovation has been happening earlier also, but today innovation has to ensure that proper, healthy, and effective and beneficial innovation happens. You need to foster a culture. It has to be a culture of innovation, so that there is collaboration between people. Innovation has to be faster, right? So you need to foster innovation and accelerate growth. Today all these things are required. So based on which this is the tagline of the so that's the thought process I've carried through the framework. So that's the intro to the framework. But now I have taken you through all these things which are happening in fintech, right? So one thing is sure, that so much is happening. There are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of benefits and opportunities. Now, having had an opportunity, if you have a framework or a model which assimilates, simplifies, and sets a direction for innovation, collaboration, and growth, it is helpful. And based on this only, I created this framework called 3F Future Fintech Framework, a vision to simplify understanding, foster innovation, and accelerate growth in fintech space. So that's about the initial intro. So this framework has three components. I'll start with the first. So this is a very famous quote by Steve Jobs. If you could, someone could keep me the time check. We have how many? I think half an hour left, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So, I start with this quote from Steve Jobs, wherein Steve Jobs famously said that companies need to first define customer experience and user journey, then work backwards on applying technologies. Today, and if I'm sure some of you have WorkX and have worked in company, तो पहले क्या होता है? First you see the technology and then try to apply to the problem, right? So that has limited effect or impact. And today the technology is very flexible, low cost, faster. It's not fully there, but compared to what it was 20 years back, it is much, much, much better in terms of all these flexibility, being fast. You can implement product faster, right? So given that, if you identify a customer experience and a journey, then using technology, using all these frameworks and models and things like India Stack and other things which government is creating or someone else is creating, you can use all that to quickly embed it as part of the system. Correct. I give you example, right? Today, if MIT wants to automate all these things digitally on its platform, right from even online admission to online attendance taking, online session, they can integrate a Zoom. For online payment, they can integrate a UPI through some bank or a payment gateway, right? And for attendance, they can integrate another ERP software. For complaint management and redressal, they may have another software integrated. Sitting at one place, many people have done such things. So if you know the use case and the user journey, you map out, you figure out what experience features you have, and then you apply tech. So this is one gap. And Steve Jobs told this as early as 30 years back, but it still exists as a problem. So what I've tried, the problem why it is not being done is there is no framework around it. Right. So I have tried to create a framework to address exactly this, which is what I call as FDLC or FinTech Digital Life Cycle. So there are 7 stages or cycle in the framework. So you take any product, just think. I gave you example of having a product for your vendors. I give you example right now. I gave you example of building this platform for MIT, which is totally everything is digital in nature. And maybe you already have it, but or if you already have it, go and see what that platform is, right? So you will notice that all of them fit into this sequence. So if you understand and get a grasp of this sequence, tomorrow this will help you innovate, ideate, improvise, and come out with an effective product or solution in all your future career endeavors. And I'm sure in the next 15, 20, 30 years, whichever you are going to continuously work or probably do business, it will be upwards of 2-3 decades. So this will continue to be beneficial. And what is this? You will see that every business starts with acquisition. So banks, when they acquire a client, they have to do KYC, they have to do background check, they will take documents for you. Now, let's say same thing MIT has to do. When you join MIT, when they acquire you as a student, first they will do some promotion to you, then they will attract you, then they will sell you the programs. Then once you qualify, maybe if they have a written exam and whatever process they follow, there is process. Then they will ask you documents. They will ask you certificate of your graduation, proof, and all those things. So that is so for all that you need automated systems and processes. So every business has a acquisition, and some of them are important because there may be compliance involved. There may be key things like your ID, which is involved, right? Because unless I have an ID, I cannot devise any system. Your attendance is based on ID, your certificate is based on ID, everything is based on your ID and stuff like that, right? So if I have to devise a system, this becomes important. So there are many implications like compliance, process, marketing. There can be marketing involved in acquisition, right? So every product will have. Then there is offboard, right? So tomorrow when you leave, you complete your program in MIT, you will be given a certificate, right? And then you may be given some recommendation letter or something. This is a very simple example I'm giving, but there can be many things around it. Correct? You may want referral from your teachers for a job, right? So it's a whole process from start to end. So you will see that any product or solution you may devise, it will have end to end these stages. It's possible in some products, some stages are not there. Yeah, for example, I've devised a simple software which is just a password login. I get to view some statement and then I log out. So it's a very simple software. So there the acquisition offboard is very small. And then the way I design my report is there. So some solution, it may be less, but everything will be on acquire and offboard will be there. And then you will see that you secure. So once you acquire, you secure. So after you have been acquired, I have to secure, I have to give you ID. I have to give you proof that these are my course content. This is my schedule, right? So it's both a content and it provides you comfort that there is some structure to what they are doing, right? And there is curriculum. Induction happens. Why induction happens in many companies? To give you comfort and to make you secure, right? In induction, they will tell you. So you'll notice that even someone comes to your house, you welcome him, you will make him sit, make him comfortable, give him a glass of water. So this is a natural flow, and I have tried to convert this natural flow into system products and features, or to give you a thought process to build these products and features. So it's very generic. You can apply, as I told you, everywhere. So you will apply secure. So in a app scenario, you will have security feature. A password is a security feature. And passwords are many types, right? You have used many devices now, it can be voice based. So it can be a feature called in credit card, you can enable a credit card. In credit card, there is a feature for setting a limit. So all these are security. And in a digital scenario, security is very important because everything is happening digitally. So for ensuring, and people will not do things digitally if they don't feel secure. To make people feel secure and to ensure they trust the system, you need to have security features. And so I'm talking about all that there. So today in any feature, and I'm giving you a thought process around it, right? Then you engage. How do we engage? For example, MIT engages you through classes, through these events, through sending you some content, through some exams, right? All those things happen. Then you transact. Transact is where you make things like payment. There is context, and I have bought in some digital concepts called contextual call to action. These are UI, UX, or design thinking based, concepts. Where so I have tried to incorporate as part of a flow, because today this flow, no one is talking about this flow anywhere. And if you get this flow, get a feel of this flow in one day, obviously anything you cannot understand, you'll get the concept. But if you keep applying this flow in any solution you keep doing now, it is very beneficial to you, and it will be very helpful. So you will engage can be done through content, engage can be through tools and calculators, correct, and all those things. Like how in a bank website, before taking home loan there is a home loan calculator, or in a insurance there is an insurance calculator, right? So this is just one example, that many ways these are to engage you. Then comes transact. There are many things within that I talk about. Then there is grow. You have to grow the relationship, right? And for example, MIT is not about syllabus, exams, and MIT could have simply said, this is the course, this is the syllabus, I'm done. MIT wants you to grow, do better things, so they organize this event, seminar, right? They may have within your, I am sure many colleges do it. So there are interest groups they form within student for a particular topic, right? So all these things are meant to grow the ecosystem. So there are many other things. So another thing for growth can be loyalty points. So these are things which are getting used in the digital ecosystem, and I've tried to bring them all together, right? Then comes service. We all know chatbots are getting used, and I'm just giving you a glimpse of certain things, service, and then offboard. So if you notice, any system you design will get covered into things I'm talking, and this is what I call as fintech digital life cycle. This will help you in any industry, and that's where I'm trying to share this thought process with you. There are 7 stages, and within them totally there are 38, 39 sub stages that will tell you how to innovate and create engaging user journey. Today everything is a journey. Even when you came to this particular event today, it was a journey. You were in the waiting room, someone cleared you at that particular time. Then after that, I told you that I'm making presentation in 2 halves. Then I told you that there is a structure to the journey, there is a flow to it. Anything you do, there is a structure, there is a flow, and that is what you call as a journey. So today there is no product, solution, and process. Earlier you used to think, so I'm not saying they are not there, but today every product, process, or solution is a journey. So if you know how to make a journey, you can make a better product, process, and solution, which is what this framework does. So and then you'll notice that the more frictionless I make this journey, the more smoother is the journey for the customer. So for example, when I acquired banks, earlier the KYC was physical. But when Aadhaar came, this journey, new technology came, this journey become digital. So every stage with application of new technology, you can keep, iterating. You can keep using this journey after 6 months, 1 year on the same process, and you'll see improvements. So this is an iterative process which you can keep applying, because 6 months later, maybe a new technology came and you can so you can engage the client better. Maybe you have a better chatbot to service or a new feature to service, right? You may add a new feature for service. All that can happen. Eventually, every digital business today aims for higher share of wallet, higher LTV, and better NPS. And this is what exactly the system talks about today, right? So, and this is what indirectly you will notice that, because every business is for business and profit, right? So indirectly, if you keep applying this, it's like this. If you do exercise daily, you will automatically be healthy and reduce weight. Correct. So but your aim should be to do the exercise regularly. And the fact that you will lose weight and remain healthy will automatically happen. Same way, if you keep understanding this framework and keep applying this, automatically your higher wallet share, higher LTV, better net promoter score, all this will happen, right? NPS is net promoter score, very heavily used in the digital field. LTV is lifetime value of customers. Now that's the one core and big framework which I have. Correct? Am I audible to you all? Is it audible?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, sir,
Someone,
audible.
yeah, someone just asked me about higher LTV. I'll take it at the end of this 4-5. If you know, a few 8-10 slides are left, I'll probably try to take it at the last 5-10 minutes. So now I come to the second component of the framework, and this is again I want to have a quote here. This is based on a lot of my project experiences. I've come to a conclusion that most digital projects and products encounter difficulties or even fail because there is lack of clarity in requirement and poor collaboration between stakeholders. Why this happens? To address that, I came out with this, which is what I call as the next framework, and which is what I call Fintech Logical Architecture, or FLARE, FLARE, right? So what I did was, so today many of you are non-techies, and frankly, today the digital world, most even, do you think so customers are most of the customers don't know technology, but today a customer knows how to download an app and start, right? So life has become much easier. So the barriers of technology are breaking with this simplified UI and architectures and models. Earlier you had to be trained in a bank to even transfer money from one account to another. People used to go to a bank, and 1 week training, they will know how to use NEFT, RTGS, upload the file, put IFFC. This is the code, this is the way it has to be done. We know some of it because this we used also. But now this power is in the hands of users. So to have an effective digital ecosystem, you need to simplify technology and framework and architecture, which is what I've tried to do. I've tried to create a model or architecture in 14 components so that it becomes easy for you to understand any architecture. And once you understand that, tomorrow you are you are creating a requirement for your technology team to create something. For a document you want to create or a requirement you want to specify, if you know these 14 components, now you will cover most of the features which are required, and some of it I've covered in FDLC also, in the sense, right? So this will help FDLC also. It is in sync. It is not so that's important. So what are those? Again, I don't want to spend too much time. As I told you, this helps you in your documentation. Even a non-techie can understand architecture. It is simple. You will collaborate. Collaboration is a very big challenge. When you work, you will realize it between departments, right? So if you can simplify that, it helps. So I've tried to simplify the whole digital ecosystem architecture into these 14 blocks. So some of them are content layer, communication layer, API management layer. There is a loyalty and rewards layer, offer layer. There is frontal layer. There is personalization layer, gamification layer, right? There is a core app, core layer. Obviously, I have limited time. I don't want to spend too much into it, but I do, as Madam mentioned, in my workshops, I basically take you through all those things. And I'm telling you, these are simple things. I give you very simple examples and explain you what these are. This applies to every industry, right? So today, business, when you build a architecture or framework or model, if you use these 14 components, life becomes easy for everyone. So I've tried to use this to foster collaboration, better documentation between different players in the team. So this is my second framework, which I take you through. And then there is a third model or a framework as part of 3F is you cannot share. There's a famous quote by Indira Gandhi, who said that you cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. And try doing it, with this hand. You cannot shake hands with anyone. You can just do this, punch him, or maybe there are new ways to say hi today. So if you want to really shake hands or make systems talk to each other, you need to open your hands, which is what brings us to what I have given a new concept called Fintech API Marketplace. You remember I told you about ONDC, UPI, all of them are API based. So the world is, everything is getting converted into API. So tomorrow you can have API for anything, right? So I can have an API for your digital certificate, and it can be linked to your DigiLocker, because your certificate is stored on your DigiLocker. But through the API, I make a call. API helps two systems talk to each other. That's a very simple definition of API. So, and you create APIs so that two systems can talk to each other. And tomorrow, what will happen? You will have APIs everywhere. You will just pick and choose the API and make a flow. Let's say you have an admission flow. in your admission flow, I want to do Aadhaar authentication. I will add Aadhaar API to it. I am creating admission form, uh, and then I will have Aadhaar API to it. I will put some rules. Then I say that document submission. I will add a submission document API to your maybe your e-locker, right? So that you can fetch it from the e-locker or browse through your local drive and upload, which I'll verify. So I can, so any workflow, I told you, right? Everything is a process flow journey today. So any journey or flow I want to design, I need to just keep adding APIs and rules to it, which is how any product will be configured tomorrow. It's a collection of these flows, rules, and features that will create a product or a solution, right? So tomorrow, so I'm proposing a concept where you can simply pick, choose all these APIs, put it as part of a flow, and publish any workflow for any activity. It can be for KYC, or it can be the whole portal, or with 10 other features. And I'm talking about that concept. And this is not just a concept. This is based on some real facts which are, happening, globally. I'm studying the industry, right? So based on that, I'm actually trying to tell you all this. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Great. Okay, now I told you about 3 things, correct? The first one was FDLC, Fintech Digital Lifecycle. So am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I thought I'll check that. So first is Fintech Digital Lifecycle. What is Fintech Digital Lifecycle? A life cycle with 7 stages and 39 step stages to innovate, creating exciting user journey, correct? Then it will help, and what it will lead to is it will reduce friction in the system and go to get you higher wallet share and improve LTV and NPS, right? Lifetime value is very simple. Today, any business, let's say a bank, the bank, let's say the bank sold you home loan. They want to improve LTV or get higher wallet share. What does mean is they want to ensure that to the same customer, I sell a credit card, I try to sell him another insurance mutual fund. So from the same customer, they want higher wallet share or higher lifetime value. So this is a digital concept. So most digital products want a higher lifetime value. Same with, let's say, your mobile operator also wants the same with you. If you are a Flipkart customer, he also wants a higher LTV. He will ensure to keep giving you offers so that you purchase more from them. You go to Swiggy, they will do that. If you go to Go IBO, Bibo, Make My Trip, he will do that. He will want a higher LTV. Right? So this concept is there everywhere. Everyone wants higher war. It's a business thing. So, but this is the term used. Like how olden days finance means, we used to know balance sheet, P&L, net profit, post PAT, right? So these are traditional finance terms, but these are new digital age terms. LTV and NPS, very important, right? So, and what is NPS is Net Promoter Score. Why Net Promoter Score? So remember, the most happiest customer is not someone who buys regularly from you. That is just one stage, because the first customer comes, he'll buy one product. Then maybe he buys the same product again, or he buys another product. If he is a little happy with you, then he will frequently transact with you. Then the final stage is when he will ask his friend, recommend his friend to buy your product. So NPS basically captures that. So that's another digital term. So a website or a portal or an app which has a higher NPS is a nice thing. Because if the NPS is gradually higher, that means there is a lot of referral which is going on, and there'll be a lot of growth possibility in that, and they are making best use of the relationship and the ecosystem, right? So this is very important. So first is FDLC. Second is Flare, Fintech Logical Architecture, and how it helps you. It is an architecture with logical and functional components, easy to understand. Even if you are a non-technical person, it improves understanding and collaboration among stakeholders. There is clarity in documentation, UI, UX articulation, correct? So, and these things are required tomorrow. It is possible you don't make the whole document. You may be part of a team where someone has given you the requirement, but even to give feedback, you need this knowledge. So if you know these 14 components, आपका दिमाग अरे नहीं इसमें ये feature नहीं दिख रहा है, you can always say, oh, you are not talked about what content you'll use in this flow. I'm giving you some very simple example, but once you get to know the framework and with your experience, you'll get more depth. But this framework helps you there. Third is Fintech API marketplace, which I told you, right? It's a plug and play API marketplace. I told you everything is API today. This will accelerate collaboration and growth, which is needed today in a digital ecosystem. It's all about collaboration. You can simply pick, choose, drag, drop, and create a workflow. I told you, right? Today, even a 12th pass can download an app and transfer money. But 20 years back, you had to get a job in a bank and be trained to transfer money. Right? So same way, technology is changing. So even a 10th to 12th pass kid can, maybe younger ones can download an app. They know how to clear the app, cache. So life is becoming simpler and people are becoming, the average technology knowledge is improving and technology is becoming easier. So the level of technology awareness to even create these workflows is getting less. If you are aware, search for the term called low code, no code platform. So we are getting into that era already. So with low code, no code, I'm telling you things which are real and already happening. So these are three. The best part is all these three, they are linked with each other, but it's not like they are dependent. Without one, you cannot follow the other. You can follow Flare separately, FAM separately, FDLC separately. So the knowledge helps, right? So, and they fill the gap of knowledge which is required for you to collaborate, grow, and perform better. And the best part is this framework is product and tech agnostic. So any technology, any industry, any workflow, it will mostly apply everywhere. So it is beneficial to you for as management students. And eventually, it's a mantra, by Giles Sutherland. Is a famous personality, business personality. At the end of the day, the customer-centric fintech solutions are going to win. And all the things I spoke to you about aims helps you create products which are customer-centric in nature. Very quickly, this is a very important slide for you as student. I already gave you some glimpse of it. So you need to understand the difference between knowledge and a framework, correct? So which is what I tried to do here for you. So you understand this. Knowledge. So why I'll tell you, because today knowledge is available freely. You do Google search. I told you, right? Go to all these websites. Every information is available. You have tons of information available, which next 2-3 years you'll keep reading and trying to understand the tons of. So today it is not about information. 10, 15, 20 years back, it was about information. Today is not the case. Information is available. Correct. So now, but if you are just given knowledge and information, it will be like this pile of clothes. I think someone can mute. I think some parallel talk happening. So if you just use knowledge, and if I just give you knowledge, what will happen is you'll be confused, you'll be disorganized, right? It's this like pile of clothes. So if I ask you that, hey, there is a party, but in the party you need to wear, blue jeans and a green t-shirt. In this pile of clothes, for you to search that, and then you find out that the t-shirt is crumbled, then you have to iron it or wash it, and it's very difficult. So you are disorganized, lack clarity, or maybe you don't get a green t-shirt here and then you go and buy, and later on you find out you already had a green t-shirt. So it's a wastage of money, duplicity, costly, inefficient. So with so much knowledge and information today, it's like a pile of clothes. And why? I'll tell you why I'm giving you. And some of you may be confused why I'm showing you this slide, but what I'm going to tell you next will hit the line in terms of why I'm telling you this. See, I have given you a framework. A framework is like a wardrobe, right? I gave you 3 FDLC, Flare, FAM, like a structure. So I've given you wardrobe. When you work, you will get a lot of these clothes and information. But a framework will help you organize this information, because only if you are organized will you be, remember, it's no more about knowledge. It's So you may have limited knowledge, but how good is your understanding is important. So framework helps us develop understanding and manage knowledge better. That's why frameworks are important, because many of us confuse. Yeah, many of you may be, so you, like for example, I'm not here coming and telling you the structure of ONDC. I'm not telling you how the UPI flow happens, right? Even that you need to know when you get into that business or in a lecture. But equally important is, so it's not, you need clothes to wear. So I'm not saying you don't need clothes, and I am not giving you clothes, I am giving you a wardrobe. So you need to know the difference, otherwise you will not appreciate what I'm trying to give. Otherwise you will feel कि अरे सर ने मेरे को ये नहीं बताया कि यूपीआई कैसे ट्रांसफर होता है, या ये मैं उसके लिए हूं ही नहीं। मैंने ये जो अभी द सेकंड पार्ट व्हिच आई हैव क्रिएटेड इज अ फ्रेमवर्क which is help you organize your knowledge. Some of it you may have now, in future you may gain little bit with more experience. So framework will always, the wardrobe will remain, clothes will keep coming and going, remember. So frameworks are more fundamental, you need. And as management student, it is all about framework. If you have done marketing, 4 P's of marketing is a framework. If you have done project management, agile is a framework. विदाउट सो ऐसा नहीं है कि प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट 40 साल पहले नहीं होता था, बट एजाइल ने उसको स्ट्रक्चर दिया. सो पहले भी लोग कपड़े पहनते थे, लेकिन वार्डरोब रखने के बाद यू आर एबल टू मैनेज योर क्लोथ्स बेटर. सो इट विल लीड, it will transform you from being disorganized to organized, better clarity. So if I ask you blue t-shirt and white trouser, you will instantly know whether you have it, not have it, if you are organized in the wardrobe, right? So you can act quickly, or you can decide quickly. If you don't have a blue t-shirt, you will go and buy it. Or if you don't have money now, you will say, okay, I'll save for it, I'll buy it later. Correct? Instead of that, I'll let me wear some little off white is green, or maybe I wear a white and ask my friend, can I attend the party with this? Just I'm giving you an example. So framework help you do all these things and transform from disorganized, I told you, very little wastage, better cost management, efficient, etc. So framework is important. That's the reason I took this. And then there are typically, as I told you, it's not about clothes, but if you use a wardrobe, you can dress regularly. So people have mistakes. So a lot of people feel, मेरे को knowledge बहुत है. Knowledge होना जरूरी है, but structured होना चाहिए जो framework के through. And that's where it will help and help you, which I'll tell you in the later slide. Similarly, you don't need too much knowledge and but frameworks to be successfully consistently. So frameworks help you to be successful consistently. They are more important than knowledge, because knowledge keeps coming and going. Today you have this knowledge, it may be irrelevant tomorrow. So you need to keep upgrading, but frameworks stay for long. So this was a Michael Dell quote. You don't have to be genius or visionary or even a college graduate to be successful. You need a framework and a dream. So dream also you need, because then dream and then action. Correct? So I'm giving you the framework. Dream is yours, vision is yours, action is yours. Because if you don't act on it, no one can help anyone, right? So but I'm giving you that framework which makes life easy for you. These are some quick studies. McKinsey did a couple of studies where they are emphasizing, talks about synthesizing messages, creativity and imagination. They are all important. Today, these things are not being taught in many places. That's why there is lowest correlation to education. This is from a McKinsey study across 20 OECD countries, which is leading countries. Right. So they are talking about these features. So whatever I'm trying to tell you syncs up, it fills that gap. So it's not like I'm telling you something I just thought and created. No, it has relevance to some of these. There is another study by McKinsey where they are more direct. They are saying that today in any organization, you need better frameworks and standards, new frameworks and approaches to ensure there is better and responsible. They're using responsible because, ESG, environmental awareness, is coming in every industry. So that's why they've added the term responsible with innovation. Right? So in a repeatable, scalable fashion, I told you, right? FDLC, you can repeat it. Repeatable, scalable fashion. So you need, today there is a need for every organization. So this also syncs up with this. So these are all McKinsey studies, and they are not very old. This study were just last 1.5 years old, or couple of years old studies. Both these studies, they are all available. If you go and it's a responsible product management if you see, I've shared the link here also. A very famous quote by Steve Jobs: you cannot connect the dots looking forward, you can connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that dots somehow connect in the future. You have to trust in something. And that's exactly the reason I've given this framework. This framework, makes your life easy, because based on my experience, I've gathered it and made life simpler for you, so that you can trust the framework, and rest all will gradually. I told you, right? Like, if you do exercise regularly, your health and your weight will fall in place. So same approach, if you use this framework, uh, you will see benefits, right? And that's where it helps. This is again very quickly to give you example, like agile. You have 3F Future Fintech framework. It will enhance your digital maturity, and this is the reason I suggest detailed workshop. Which we are trying to see if we can probably organize even for you students. If you find this framework to be interested, we'll be happy to organize. The I think Bhageshri ma'am, madam, I had even emailed you. So this will
Yes.
enhance the digital maturity for all your student. It's a new thought process and thinking. So I'm sure many of you are being taught agile. So if you have been taught agile as model or 4 Ps of marketing, management is also, this is just like a IDET framework. It helps, and it'll bring clarity to you. Little clarity initially, because obviously in one go you'll not, anything you cannot fully appreciate, but I'm 100% sure over a course of career and life, this will continue to benefit them. These are some benefits. It will help develop innovation culture. I told you, low code, no code era is coming. A lot of things are converging, industries are converging. So you need to have a new thought process. You need to break silos, collaborate with others. How do you create innovative products for your customer, compete? This challenge will cover in every industry, right? So, which is what I cover as part of the workshop, and this complements any other thing like design thinking, agile, or CPOC, or there are many frameworks. So it's not like this is replacing that. This complements that. So so this is an value addition to you, and very helpful. It will help people get clarity. You think and act differently today. That is important, right? So you need both thought and action. You adopt and innovate. So innovation is not just about ke mere ko ek batti jal gaya. You need to adopt and innovate, think differently, iterate. So this framework helps you there. Grow. Today these things are required, because without clarity you cannot act. Correct? If I give you, say, these are 10 things, I ask you to solve. अगर आपको 10 समझेगा ही नहीं, आप क्लियर नहीं हो, तो आप क्या उसका एनालिसिस करोगे, क्या एक्शन लोगे, क्या एनालिसिस करोगे? So framework helps you get clarity, which is what I told you earlier. So this is how it helps. And creativity is contagious, pass it on. Like smile is contagious, pass it on. And this has been quoted and rated I've done various sessions. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I keep quoting, and I've done various sessions. And the framework has been evaluated by some leading media companies globally, Fintech Times, IBS Intelligence. These are some reputed names globally. Disruption Banking, and you can always, and it was one of the best fintech books last year, and they keep continuously adding it to the regular yearly views. And I think I shared this with you. I again want to share this. You don't have to be genius or a college graduate to be successful. You need a framework, which is what I've done. So thank you, and thank you for patiently listening. If you have 5 minutes to take a question, I'm happy to do that. I'm done from my side. Yeah.
Yeah, sir, definitely we can take one or max two questions. So, students, if you have any, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. Also, please do not leave this session. I could see the counts are going down. Please do not leave.
Lunchtime, huh?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, very good afternoon. Who's this? You can
Kiran
identify.
Hakke over here.
Huh?
Kiran Hakke over here.
Yeah, Kiran, tell me.
Sorry, sir, I have missed the previous session. When I'll get the recording?
Ayana.
My slides are there. Recording, I think your team members can tell you. My slides I have shared with you also.
Sir, where should I search slides?
We will update you, student, about the recording.
Okay.
It will be shared in next few days. I will notify you. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, Ashna, you can take it ahead.
Yeah, so I don't think so, sir. They have any questions because you were too. Okay, there is one question on the chat, sir. Sir, can you explain framework with respect to product management and sales? Can we have reference with respect to it? Human resource.
Yeah, so I gave you some, in sales or marketing, there is this AIDA framework, right? Acquire, I think action and interest, right? So first is attention, interest, and there's some this. So there are many frameworks within, product management has product development life cycle, right? Like you have life cycle. So there is a product development life cycle framework. Somewhere they use design thinking for product management. Design thinking is, I think the concept is called, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and launch. If I'm not mistaken, there are 5 or 6 stages around that. So there are many frameworks which are within product management. All these things get used. So devising an app is also, I told you, right? Every product and solution is getting converted into a workflow or a solution. So from that perspective, framework like FDLC or the whole 3F future fintech framework components will also apply. So there are many around. So as management student, we need to, in HR, we know MBTI as a framework for evaluation, correct? So there are on models and frameworks to do some. So some frameworks are limited, some are broader, some cover the whole life cycle. Like in software development, you have SDLC as a framework, software development lifecycle. In data management, if you are into data and analytics, there is CPOC as a framework. So many of them will be required for product management and sales also. CPOC is supplier, input, process, output, and consumer. So any data process or a flow has to follow this CPOC model. If you know, it's a very fundamental to this. So why I'm telling you, they make life easy for you and make it helpful for you to understand complex things easily. If you know the frameworks now, you will apply, irrespective of technology, you will ask the right question, and instead of asking 10 questions, maybe even 4 or 5 questions, you'll get the answers. Or less efforts, you'll get the answer. So framework is helpful. And I gave you some examples, if you can try to relate to. Yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Anil from Nasik. I want to know, is there any kind of framework is available for supply chain management?
Yeah, so there are see, every industry has a study, right? So in supply chain, there are organizations which are doing what do you call courses. There are specific organization, I think, and they do high-end courses. And if you want to professionally upgrade, like for example, you want to be in the investment industry, though you are an MBA, CFP is helpful, or a CFA is helpful, correct? Right.
Right.
So same way for supply chain, there are specific courses. I will suggest you look at them. Otherwise, if you Google search, there may be some models, and you, for example, understanding what this trade platform does will be helpful, right? Because within supply chain, there are various models. There are new technologies like blockchain, which are being applied to supply chain. So it's a big subject, right? I cannot give you one single line answer, because it's like an animal with different hands, legs, and all. So the simple answer I can give you is, look at this trades platform, go and see supply chain, blockchain. You will get a lot of models and framework. These are some simple things. And then there is this company, if I'm not called Norex, Knowrex, because I used to keep getting, some, promos from them talking about courses specifically on supply chain, and they do it corporates. So these are professional courses, not standard courses, right? So you could go and see if something interests you, so which you can do addition to what you are learning here, or maybe MIT does a tie-up with them. I don't know. There are different ways to looking at it, and so that's very quickly about supply chain. Yeah.
Can you guide us in these courses? Is it available from your side also?
No, I don't. I'm not a specialist in supply chain. I can create a supply chain solution because I am a product and go-to-market specialist. So I can create any solution in any industry, and I do have good knowledge on supply chain because I've been exposed to it. But I'm not not a supply chain industry expert. Yeah. But I've given you, so a lot of these things I'm telling you are very specific. If anyone, even an industry expert, will maybe tell you one or two things more than this. I don't think so. I am way off than what I'm saying. And this is more than adequate for you now as students, what I'm telling you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, and this was a wonderful session. I have one
Okay.
question: how this one framework will help in operation management?
नहीं देखिए ऑपरेशन मैनेजमेंट के तो अलग ही हो जाते हैं बिकॉज ये ऑपरेशन इज शॉप फ्लोर रिलेटेड इंडस्ट्रीज आर डिफरेंट राइट यू नो एंड so but even in operation management you will be working to say, let's say you have created a system where your different departments interact with each other and you have to make that system. So you'll have to think of it like a flow I told you about in FDLC, flare and fam. So wherever I told you, you are either a part of a team or you have to suggest, make a small suggestion. These thought processes will help you, be it in operation, HR, finance, everywhere. I told you, right? This is product and tech agnostic. It's a very generic thought process. Even in your operation, there is start and end, acquire and exit. Correct. Within that, there is some kind of a content, there is some transaction or action or a execution which happens, right? And then next step comes, there is a flow around it. So wherever there is a flow and a journey, you can apply this framework. Correct. So my answer is slightly generic because the framework is agnostic to all of these. If I want startup, then how should I develop platform by data can be linked, related? So there are various APIs available. So when you do startups, so you will join an accelerator program, or if you do Google search, so many of these companies provide APIs. Some are free, some are paid. So many of these companies provide APIs. So if they are paid, you have to try. Sandboxes are helping you test. So if you want to test, you will join a sandbox. So all these things will help you if you are doing a startup. And when you do a startup, many of these startup programs help you with these references. They get mentors on board. They help you linking, getting access to those APIs, all that they do. Usually that's where going to an accelerator or a, startup, cohort helps you, right? Yeah. Cost, I cannot say because cost will vary from product and solution and industry. That can vary, but it's much less now. For example, if I want to create a e-learning app, I have content, right? Assuming I have a course and a content. Let's say I have already this FDLC course and content. I can very quickly make within few thousands and maybe 1-2 lakhs also I can make an app. Correct? It is not a prohibitive factor in that sense, right? So today there are many products which are available which help you do that, which is where technology is helping you. So I cannot give you specifics on cost, but it is much less today in many products. It depends, but it depends on what product and solution you want to create. Yeah.
Sorry to cut you, sir. I guess we should proceed with the next session now, as it's
Perfect.
1:20. Will it be okay, sir?
I'm done. I just answering questions. So yeah.
Because it's
Thank you
very
very much, sir.
interactive and students are taking a lot of interest in this because subject is the topic is like that only.
Yeah,
So
I'm
yes,
happy.
sir.
That's the intent, right? So
Yes. And as you said, and even students suggested, we will definitely look after taking your workshop very soon. Okay. So yes, Ashna, you can take it ahead.
Yes, sir, before just proposing the formal vote of thanks, I would request my students to just switch on their cameras so that you can also see their faces and we can take a good screenshot with them.
I
So,
believe they are much habitual with this process now.
yes, so team, please take a good screenshot with sir.
see, this is not a 9:30 session. A lot of you can come. 9:30, I can understand.
Now, sir, this will be second time 9:30 will start after the lunch.
Oh,
Done, ma'am.
great.
Thank you. Thank you. So, before proposing the vote of thanks as well, students, please wait till the end. And, sir, it was an our honor and privilege to have you for this Spectrum, that is the virtual conclave of MIT SD 2023. Thank you so much for taking out your time and your insights regarding fintech opportunities. The frameworks which you shared with our students were completely valuable and it was really helpful. And the case studies, also the examples which you shared were truly helpful. So thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, and I thank you for all the wonderful questions, and Ashna and team and Bhagyashree madam. I think it was a very smooth and no confusion, very straight kind of a setup, and very nicely organized. And best wishes. I think you still have a day to go, and for a highly successful event, 1 month which you have held. All the best to all of you. Great.
Thank
And
you so
as
much,
I
sir.
told you, please connect if you have any questions,
Yes,
and
sir.
you can follow me. Yeah, yeah, great, great.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Kartik sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome all. Yeah, sure. I just leave this. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.